Brother, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome very much. I cannot wait to get into this. How are things today so far?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I kind of met you one time before at a, I guess, charity fundraiser grappling wrestling fight, night of mismatches, right?
Yep.
And that our mutual friend Connor Larock put on. Mm-hmm. Love the guy. The event was great. I was very impressed by your ability to stay calm and kind of almost, it looked to me like you were almost puppet mastering all like between the audio and then the band and then trying to get things working so that the timing was right. Mm-hmm. And I think I just wanted to commend you on that before we kind of get into the thick of the show. So I'm like, man, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Thanks.
So
yeah.
Awesome. So take us through kind of now what your transition was like. We can kind of start leaving high school or beginning of post-secondary, and then take us through that to kind of where we are now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was a normal kid, I guess. Growing up, played sports. Grew up in a rural town, that kind of thing. But it wasn't until college and university when I really got into music and started hanging out with people that were into music, and then that's where I started to love what I started to do now, which is DJing and doing events. It was a lot of underground, you can call it, house parties in the basement, that kind of thing. Frat parties, that kind of stuff. And
really?
Then, yeah.
Nice.
And it wasn't until later on, after I had already graduated or finished university and college, that I actually said I should run a business and do this because I do it so well.
Nice.
And a local other DJ that was a buddy of mine, he pushed me. He gave me the reins and said, "Here, this is good, and you should do this. You're really good at it." So
nice. I
originally, just did it under the table, and then eventually I said, "No, I got to do this the right way." I wrote a business plan, and I had a job already, a full-time job, but I could see that there wasn't going to be a position for me later on in life. Like the writing was on the wall. Yeah. So it kind of gave me that push, right, to give up that and write a business plan and start my business. And over time it took a little bit of work and success to get to where I am now. Not without any failures. I think you got to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have success without it.
That's right. And some of my good friends who saw me fail still believe in me because of the fact that from that failure I've learned and I've experienced and I've gotten better at what I do. And that's probably what really paid off on that event that you've seen, was that I've done it all and I've tried it all and I've experienced it all, and I might have failed at it, but then that's what got me to do it better, right?
Right.
So that's what gets me to where I am now.
So what were kind of, in the beginning stages, things that you noticed, or that now that you've had, I guess, time to look back on it, whether you look back or not is a different thing, but now that you've kind of had that time that's gone by, have you been able to kind of reflect and see what it was that gave you that nudge in the right direction to choose like music and DJing?
I think mostly it was just passion and being passionate about what I love to do.
Nice.
And music is definitely that, but I think more so making sure people are celebrated and people have memories from that celebration. That's what really got me into what I do now. I still will do club gigs and do gigs at the bar, but most of the time, those people, they don't give a crap about what happens that night.
Right, as long as it's loud. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
But there still are some times where it's a good party and I love doing that. But I think overall, whatever event I do, whether it is like the Connor LaRock thing or a wedding or any other event that's community-based, when people say, "Oh, that was so fun," and I remember that, that's what really drives me. That's what makes me want to do that. And I think that's why I took that direction to become an entertainer, basically. Was to create something that people are going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool way of looking at an experience. And you're almost, I feel it's rung true that yeah, I stand by what I said earlier. You're like a puppet master for their entertainment, right? So you can control the flow and the tone of kind of what's going on.
Yeah. I didn't understand that though right away when I first started off. Like when I wrote my business plan, if I was to pitch at anybody, whether it be a client or a company, I was always pitching my sound, my audio, my music library.
Yeah.
I have 20,000 songs to pick and choose from, and really like they don't want to hire me because of that. Right. Anybody could get that now.
Right.
Anybody could have good sound
nowadays,
or music, right?
Yeah.
It took me a while to learn and understand that no, that's not what they want. They want the experience. They want whatever I can make them feel through that audio and that music. So basically, I'm selling myself.
Yeah.
Right. I'm selling what I do, not what I have or what I can offer.
Right.
And then once I understood that, it really made me succeed more because I could sell that properly. Right. I was never great at selling to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that knowing that the ultimate goal was to create something that people are going to remember and feel, that feeling, that's what I had to sell to them.
Now, what I'm wondering in that, as I look at somebody as myself, being somebody I'm not too familiar with that industry. Mm-hmm. So understanding it and almost feeling that you guys are, like, you're kind of not on the outside looking in, but majority of the photos that I've seen, it's like there's a bunch of people having fun, and then there's this guy right here, and then that's you, and he's controlling everything. How'd you kind of develop that transition in the beginning stage? Like, when did you kind of understand that was something very important that would make the difference for you?
I don't think I learned it on my own. I think I had to hear it from others that learned it themselves. Yeah. One of the biggest lessons I learned, and I could tell anybody in business, is to surround yourself with others that are like-minded and that will help you develop who you are. So, in industries like DJing or music, there's associations, just like in any other industry, right? Like a mining industry has an association for mining, or that kind of thing. So I joined associations. I joined groups of other DJs that were like-minded and wanted to do the same thing that I wanted to do, and it was them that kind of made me realize that that's what I need and that's what I have to do to get better and to get to that ultimate goal.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. As successful people, or as people trying to be successful, you never can do it alone. You always have to have a group of, I guess you could call it like advisors or people that are going to give you insight.
Like mentors.
Mentors,
Advisors, mentors,
exactly. Yeah.
Huh. I found that's been something that I myself struggled with at the kind of beginning stages, and then knowing personality-wise that I just doing something, whether it be for myself or with one or two other people, to kind of create something, and like you said, like-minded, whether that be they have the same business goals or personal goals and stuff, you kind of attach to those people. Did you find, because I definitely struggled with, and not struggled with this per se, but I definitely had this experience, and I'm wondering if you did as well with this, whether it be industry related or personal, there are a lot of people that as it kind of grew towards like, okay, these are my goals, now we're putting the steps in place to achieve that. Did you ever lose, like, friends would fall off, right? And people would fall off, like the train, I guess, or the friendship. You'd lose friendships in that, and it would kind of get, not lonelier, but you'd lose people who were around before, whether they be intimidated of what you're doing or not understand it. Did you ever, like, experience that? Yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think at some point, if people don't have the same goals or the same mindset as you, they don't follow. They don't continue with what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. And some of them, I definitely would say that I wish they had, came along the ride or joined the movement, whatever you want to call it.
That's a fun time.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure.
Exactly. But maybe they just needed a different way to understand or have a new path. So I would totally say that that's happened to me.
Yeah.
Some have come and gone and done successfully despite not being my friend anymore or being a part of my goals. But ultimately, I think we learn from people and we grow, and if people grow differently, then I accept that. That's the way it is.
Do you remember there being like a turning point aha moment when you were kind of starting out that made everything else, like the road, more clear? Yeah?
Yeah,
One or two? Or?
Definitely. I think the first part of my growth when I was writing out my business plan was really understanding that I had to have a mission. I had to have, a statement. I had to have something that said, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Some people always have that. Maybe they just keep it in their mind, or they have a little piece of paper and they've written it down in a notepad.
Yeah.
But it was other people that had already done that and written a business plan that explained it to me, that you need to have a reference, a book, something that you're going to go back to all the time.
Right.
It's going to change. It's never going to always stay the same.
Yeah.
But it's from that reference that you're going to continue to develop, make different goals, maybe just pivot and change altogether depending on the situation. So I definitely feel like, that moment for me was probably when I had written my business plan, I had gotten my business started, and then I realized that I couldn't make or do as well or have as much money or success as others, simply because I wasn't changing my plan. I wasn't making it any better.
Yeah.
The whole idea of just thinking that this is as far as I can get and this is all I'm going to do. It wasn't making sense, And what I realized, I think that moment was when I thought, I'm going to do 100 events. I'm going to do 100 gigs a year. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be super rich. But if I'm only making $100 or $200 at each of those events, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I'm only going to make $10,000 to $20,000 in a year.
Yeah.
It was that person that said, no, write your business plan and tell yourself you're going to work less but make more. Right? I'm only going to do 20 events in a year.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to make $20,000 or $30,000. Right? The difference is that I'm worth more than that.
Right, and the events, I'm sure too, are like they're higher class, higher end events, and I'm sure more challenging, right?
Definitely.
More like
there's markets for everything. Some markets are worth more than others, right?
Right.
And it takes a while to understand how that works. But it was that moment when I realized that, wait a minute, I don't want to work for pennies and do a ton of events.
Yeah, the quality has to be there as well.
I want to do less events but make more money at the same time.
Right. I mean, 100%. 100%. I don't blame you. So with that being said, what kind of market is your preferred to entertain?
So I think the private market is definitely what I like. The public market is still fun. I love doing, like I said, I love doing bar gigs or club gigs, or even community events like the one we did with Connor. But ultimately, private events are more fun because then I can help that person or that company or that client dream. They're going to dream, and they're like, this is what I want to see happen, Richie. And so we create a plan. We plan it out. We make sure that this is going to be successful because we're doing these things. And then that end result, that is really what makes me happy and what makes me feel good about what I do.
That's cool.
Because once we complete it, it's what everybody wanted. And so in the private sector, that to me is a lot easier and more successful. But in the public sector, you can still accomplish those things. But like I said, how many times are you at the bar and it's just the bar or it's just one night out. You don't really remember anything after you've had 15 or 20 drinks.
And sometimes after 4, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, definitely.
So, as you how has COVID affected the entertainment industry as a whole? Whether that be with like what you noticed directly that's impacted you, or whether that's just been overall as an entertainment industry?
Oh, it's definitely affected the entertainment industry. Aside from maybe tourism, I would say it's the hardest hit industry in all of COVID.
See, I I could place a bet that you would say that
Yeah.
almost verbatim, but I almost don't want that to be I don't want that to be the case, because we need to be entertained more now, because now we're just consumed with a lot of BS going around.
Right.
And yeah, it's not
I think
ideal.
I mean, entertainment was still capable of happening throughout COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think live is the key word. Live entertainment changed. You had no more mass gatherings at live events, especially indoor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, outdoor events eventually can continue to happen,
Yeah.
as long as you could space yourself and social distance.
Right.
But in my example, the only way I could perform live events was through video.
Right.
And so I quickly became a Twitch streamer.
Nice. Epic.
You know,
Yeah.
it didn't make me a whole lot of money. It
Right.
gave me a lot of opportunity to continue practicing what I do.
Which
because
is what you love to do, so...
Yeah. Otherwise,
It's not
if
a
I wanted
loss at
to,
all.
yeah, if I wanted to be in front of people and do something live, I could never do it without, you know, without being social distanced by everybody because
Right.
of COVID. So that's how I probably changed my business and the way I operated,
Yeah.
was that video became really important, more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the whole
Yeah,
entertainment
yeah.
industry had to adapt that way,
Yeah.
especially for live events. I know right away, you know, you always, you know, find bands and
Yeah.
live performers on social media now just doing live videos, because
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only way you're going to find them. It's not the same where, you know, you could walk up to a bar and then all of a sudden there's a guy performing, you know.
And then you want to know because you liked one of theirs. Yeah.
You know, like
Harder to find
that's
people.
yeah, that's not happening anymore. It's slowly coming back. It's
Yeah.
coming back for sure.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
It's slowly moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, I thought this would be an interesting thing to share with you. When I was looking through, again, to our good friend Connor, he wanted to do a second event similar to the one prior, and he said, who should I get to host? And out of the probably 40 comments, at least 35 were all saying you, and then saying, yeah, I had a great job last year. And I was like, amazing.
Right,
I was like,
right.
I'm going to share this with him in case he didn't catch a glimpse. So
Well, I'm honored. I think that's awesome. I would love to do another event. I can't take all the credit though.
I mean, I'm gonna keep the light shining on you. You don't have to. You can direct it elsewhere. But
So when I do that production, I had done some already for another group called Subri MMA.
Yep.
They did Northern Fights and a couple other events.
That's right. Yes.
So I originally was hired as the host, but they still needed somebody to play music. They still wanted lighting. They still wanted, you know, interaction with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to create all of that through a team. I don't just do it on my own. There's no way I could be standing behind the decks playing the music at the same time as being in the ring and announcing, but also at the same time making sure that the lighting is right, or the video feed is correct, because I mean we have you know, in the event venues, they have video on the walls where you can actually see what's happening or who's being introduced. So I have a team that helps me with that. I don't do it all on my own. That would be virtually impossible.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. I mean, you can through virtual. You know, through live, it's probably like, I guess, easier. But what now? Taking it back, now that we're doing kind of like you did a bit of like the live stuff and the streaming that way. What was something that was what was the most challenging thing about that transition part, and what was something that you found you just grasped onto right away?
So I had already done or used the whole Twitch thing before COVID hit. You know, I had seen it. I had seen other people using it, but I always thought it was just a way for me to create video.
Right.
And I quickly learned that it's not, or it shouldn't be used that way. It's actually a community, and it's an interactive community. So in other words, when I'm on video, I want to actually chat and use that function to communicate with whoever's watching me.
Whoa.
Right?
Right.
So the first few times I used Twitch, the only thing I thought was, I'm just going to play my set, pick the songs I'm going to play, and record myself doing it on Twitch as I stream. Little did I know, people that are watching me want to interact and talk and chat with me. Or they want me to do certain things. So Twitch has a system in place where you could spend coins and get the person who's live streaming to change it up or do something, right? So I mean,
man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It really is cool, and that's where I think I made changes, or I learned that this is how this is the platform is actually supposed to be used.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think there's a lot of people that don't really understand the full potential of what it can do.
No?
No, not at all.
Jeez, that's one thing that I've wanted to almost get into with the podcast, but at the same time, I don't know the best way. I would have to like look into it and like
research it. Yeah. I've started reading a book on like for entertainers, anyways, how to monetize Twitch. So I'm sure if you search, you could probably find a book based on podcasting. What's the best way to monetize or use Twitch for that?
Twitch for that specifically, yeah. Because I think that's a cool. I love that you said community, because I think that's such a cool thing that we were missing throughout the time that you had to make the transition over to virtual.
Right? And like when I first started streaming, it was like I'm in front of the camera and that's it. I didn't realize that there's somebody else on the other side of the camera that wants to watch and be part of what I'm doing. And it goes right back full circle to when I started my business and I wanted to create something memorable for people. Well, doing a live stream or a video is no different.
Right.
So to create that special memory for them, I have to make sure that I'm interacting or getting something from them so that I can give it back to them, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How was that challenge for you doing creating that experience for them through the virtual medium?
Well, I think there's still a lot that I need to learn from streaming live. I don't think that I'm fully capable yet of understanding it.
Yeah, I don't know who is.
Well, there's gamers that are really good at it. I don't know how they figure it out or how they get good at it, but I mean, some of them have like thousands of subscribers. And I mean, I'm lucky I was able to maybe get 10 or 15 on, at one time to subscribe to my channel. But I think that really what you want to do is create something that is unique. Mm-hmm. So, that nobody else does or that no one else will do. Yeah. And I guess a perfect example of that was during the last summer because of COVID, I started streaming from a dock.
That was epic. Yeah, that was so sick.
Right?
Yeah, I was following you, and I'm like, no.
I mean, there was no other way to do a live event in public without being social distance. Why not do it on a lake? I mean, nobody can be anywhere near you unless they're in a boat, right? And then if they're in a boat, they're still, on the lake away from you.
Yeah, and chances are 6 feet apart still. Like, I have a canoe that I'm like, from me to my weights over there.
Exactly.
Like, that's amazing.
So when I started doing that and interacting with people through the live stream, I was able to create something unique for them by like having rewards. So throughout the stream, if they gained a certain amount of points, the reward was if they spent it on it, the reward was I would cannonball into the lake.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. But you had to watch the stream long enough or be part of my subscribers list that you could spend that and do it, right? I would jump in the lake.
Yeah, I love it.
Whatever whatever part of the stream I would do it. So to me that's really like
it's creating
creating something.
Yeah,
exactly.
it is. That's so cool. Fully clothed.
I never ended up doing it. No one spent money on it, but
next time you do,
maybe
I'll take the challenge. Actually,
maybe.
I'll do it. And to see you fully clothed jump in a 3-piece suit,
right?
You're like, whoa, hold on.
Or like mid song, so like the song's still playing. I gotta come back and
they just keep going.
Yeah,
amazing. I would do it. I would download Twitch and get fully invested. After that one, oh man,
there's all kinds of things you can do to create something for your audience or for the community that's involved.
Do you think? Now here's an idea, and I hope nobody takes it. But I hope
maybe we shouldn't say it.
Have you? You do something the exact same thing except during winter. Obviously, not jump in the lake.
Right.
I don't think that's a great idea.
So over the winter, I don't tend to do a lot of events unless they're indoors. And so because of COVID and the pandemic, I really didn't do much last winter, except stay indoors. But I mean, most of the time I would go traveling throughout the winter. So I've done a lot of events or DJ'd at resorts, in the Caribbean. But over the last year, I haven't been able to just because we weren't supposed to travel, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't done it. But I would definitely I would do that. I would create something on like Twitch or live streaming saying that if you wanted me to, I would come to wherever you are and DJ for you if you spent the money. You know, definitely.
Just through Twitch. Wow.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. I think that's a really cool way of.
I mean,
the community.
You're right, and I mean,
yeah.
I think sometimes when people are in business, all they think is like small town or small in the box thinking, where it's like I can only do it here, or I can only do it, you know, locally.
Yeah.
When really, whatever we're doing is global. Nowadays, you can do it anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Anywhere, absolutely. Especially
Anywhere
when
can
you're
see
using
it too.
Yeah. Especially when you're using you know, a streaming service or a platform like that. Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of those things, to your point, where now that the way media is and everybody's able to see it, like 90% of the videos or channels I'm subscribed to, whether it be on YouTube or people I follow on Instagram, they're not really many people are from the same neighborhood or the same most of them same city, but probably 60% of the people I follow are from Sudbury, and then that's 40%. That's another couple hundred people who are not from here.
Yeah.
Which I think is super cool as a way to, like, how do you stay engaged with those people, especially during a time? And then we found a way, whether it be like through House Party or everybody's Instagram living and stuff, or going on Twitch and being virtual and stuff and live streaming. I think that's a really cool, unique way of still being able to do what you're passionate about, but just kind of adjusting versus the handful of businesses I did see that were, well, this is bullcrap that we have to go through. And it's like, yeah, you're right, it is, but I love that you adapted and were able to kind of make that shift. And you're like, hey, this is a cool medium, let's do it. And then you kind of went through the trials of what it's capable of, and then probably going to keep going on it. Eh?
Yeah, and I mean, despite the circumstances, there's one thing that I can still always do, and that you know, I strive to continue doing more of, and that's creating radio shows where I just basically got to create a mix and a podcast, because I do speak on the show. But I send that to anywhere in North America. If the radio station wants it, I just send it to them. Right.
Nice.
So I mean, right now I'm on a couple of radio stations weekly, one in New York and one in Knoxville, Tennessee. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool, dude. Yeah,
really
for
cool.
sure.
But those things are something that, again, it's not like something that's stuck to being local or just here in Sudbury.
Right.
I can create something and send it anywhere I want, and they can play it. You know. So that's something I'm still working to do better at, as well as have a consistent radio show. Because I mean, there's tons of DJs here in Sudbury. There's tons of guys that are good, and I'm friends with them, or you know, I appreciate what they do.
Right.
But I have to say that there's not too many that I know have created as much shows or radio DJ mixes that I think are as capable of competing with what I've created. So not to keep the light on you or anything.
No,
but,
for sure.
I mean, you can easily go to any of my social media channels and see, like, on a weekly basis, I'm posting something that's you know, a mix or a radio show that I've created. So I'm confident that I can continue being consistent doing that.
Nice, awesome. It's a really cool thing to see people being authentic nowadays. And I was listening to, I think, somebody, I don't remember, on a podcast or radio show, and their thing was being authentic now in a world where everybody's trying to be like somebody else,
right,
is huge, and people are craving authenticity and being unique, and people, I find, latch on to those people who are trying to do something and see it through. And to your point of trying to do that, and then it's a huge confidence challenge.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going from you start somewhere with this idea, and then you make it into this other idea, and you want it to get so big, and you have these crazy hopes and visions and goals and dreams for it. But you know, in order for that to go, you have to be open to the criticism. You have to be open to learn. You have to be open to failure. And it's challenging at times. Like, whether it be with, like, the podcast or what you're doing, I don't know if you found this, but it's very, very challenging at times, like, internally.
Oh yeah.
Right? To battle, like, okay, there's X amount of people watching, or why aren't there more? Or there were less last week, but what did I do?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of like...
I think sometimes I overanalyze that actually too much. Sometimes it's just better to be passionate about what you're doing and be in the moment than it is to worry about, who's watching or how many are watching or, whether the stream is actually successful or not. But overall, I think consistency is the important part. So you just got to keep doing it. Just don't stop. Keep doing it. Never give up. You know.
And what was it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and I was like, "Hey, we were sitting here, and I had like begin construction of this. I didn't even have insulation in the walls. I didn't have the boards up. I didn't have the blankets up. Excuse me, nothing like that." So I was sitting with him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, like once I get this going, like this is what I want to do. I want to see it through. I want this. I want to be consistent. I want to make a change. I want the show to grow." And I felt like I was in a stalemate of. I would kind of struggle to not find guests because a lot of people want to do the show.
Yeah.
I just have to ask.
Yeah.
But I was neglecting doing that. And that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
If you don't reach out or you don't search for clients or ask for people to like come chat with you, nobody's going to, you're not going to reach and go, "Hey, Glenn, I saw this podcast you're doing. I should be on it. We should chat." And, nobody does that. So you have to, but people are more often than not open to doing it with me. So his whole thing was, he's like, "Hey, minimum once a week, just be consistent. Same day, once a week. You can do one more, you can do 3 more a week. Same day, once a week, have one out."
Yeah.
Always be consistent. And looking kind of back into people who I admire and look up to and notice kind of when their transition or when I noticed the spike in their growth of what they were doing, whether it be their podcast or their business, is they had been so consistent for so long. And whether like podcast related, this guy was doing like three a week or like 7-10 a month, and he was just growing, and then all of a sudden he had like these crazy conversations. He was traveling all over doing the show. I'm like, consistency kind of trumps everything.
Yeah, it's
huge.
Eventually, it becomes second nature, and so
Right.
you do it so well and so often that you just easily do it. It's not hard to do. You don't think about it. You just get it done. And when you're consistent, people notice. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's how basically social media and the way we're watching others do things is based off of that. You don't find or see somebody on social media just because you happen to be scrolling. 9 times out of 10, it's because they're there again. You jump back on, they're there again.
Yeah.
They're always consistently posting and they're always consistently doing something.
Right. They're always engaged doing something.
Exactly. And so that comes right back down to being consistent. So whatever it is you're doing, if you consistently do it, you're going to get noticed. You're going to have viewers. You're going to you're going to get popular if that's your goal. Whatever it is.
Right on. Yeah, and it's something that I think where the confidence battle that we were talking about a few minutes ago pairs with the consistency, and then the whole reason you're doing what you're doing is the love passion part, right?
Yeah.
Where as long as that's the driving force, because I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like I've had a few friends in the past where when I started doing the podcast, they're like, "Oh, you're doing podcasts on YouTube. I want to do YouTube." And I was like, okay. I'm first of all just posting to it because I think video is like a great medium, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And just being able to, like anything shy of interacting, quite literally, I just feel they're now a part of the conversation as if they're sitting there, right? So that's cool, and that's why I do that. But then I'd have friends in the past when I want to do YouTube now, and I'm like, okay, like, but it's a consistency thing. Like it's only recently, a buddy of mine was like, who I hadn't talked to in a while, recently reached out and was like, "Hey man, I see your subscribers are growing. What are you doing differently? Are you naming your videos differently?" I'm like, "I've been naming things the exact same.
Yeah.
But I'm not posting once every 4 weeks. I'm not posting once every 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm not having a podcast on a Tuesday in October and then a Wednesday in September.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, once a week, every Tuesday, and then it's like, oh, 2, 3, 4, and then he's like, "Oh man, you grew so much." I'm like, it's consistency, right?
Be consistent,
yeah.
And I think once you accomplish that, I mean, don't stop being consistent. Obviously, that should never stop. But
Right.
then you grow from there by creating something or adapting whatever you're doing to your market or your audience.
Right.
Like basically, it's branding, right? Whatever your brand is, that's what you're going to expand. Now that you're consistent with it, you want to create something that people are always going to remember because of the brand. So, the first time I'm pretty sure you ever had a can of pop and you seen a red can with a little squirrely line on it, you remember that for the rest of your life because now you see it everywhere. It's Coke. It's Coke. Coke's everywhere. Now you see it in advertising. They don't change that brand. It stays the same. It's consistent all the time. That's what you got to do after you've consistently done, whatever you're doing. So a perfect example of that for me, myself, my brand is, just to play on my name as being Richie Rich.
Yeah.
Everything I post is rich in something,
Yeah.
rich in music, rich in memories.
It's amazing.
So that's my brand, and that's what I got to keep pushing. And now that I'm consistently, streaming or creating radio shows or podcasts, it's that brand of being rich in something that I keep pushing to people, right?
I love it. Yeah. It's amazing. It's smart. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It works, right?
Yeah.
There was this marketing strategy that I saw a clip of, and it was Red Bull when they first came out. They took a bunch of used Red Bull cans and they just went to popular gas station open or park open garbage cans and just threw a bunch in the top.
Yeah.
Just so that
so people could see it.
Yeah, and they're like, well, everybody's drinking this, and subconsciously then that's how they started. That's how they spiked, and I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
Branding now gives you wings, right?
Yeah.
So all that kind of stuff, and then what you're able to almost funnel it. At what stage, if you're able to elaborate on a bit, what stage should people who, whether they're doing a radio show or entertainment or business, focus on, really focus in and dive into the branding aspect and start pushing that?
I think you have to have a brand the minute you decide on whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be prominent because it takes time. It takes a lot of time for people to see that brand or to accept it. But what's important to me when I'm branding myself is that, again, going back to the consistency thing, just always making sure that it's a part of whatever I'm doing.
Right.
So, the minute you're posting something on social media, you should have a logo or a saying or a color of some sort that's part of your brand in it. Not all of it. It doesn't have to have every aspect of it, but just a little something of it.
Just enough to notice.
Yeah. And then eventually, whatever you're doing, something, whether it be on social media or in your normal everyday life, you just keep plugging those things in somewhere, and then eventually it just people remember it or people see it and they're like, oh yeah, that's from that. I remember that. So
interesting.
It becomes basically a part of your your fiber. Your part of you.
Right, and I think when there's an issue that comes up when people aren't able to make it, people aren't able to make it a part of them, right? Because I felt in the beginning stages, and you might be able to relate to this or not, but you want something to do well, but you're almost self-conscious because you don't want people to know you're a part of it. That's how I felt. Whether that's similar, you've had similar experiences or not, different thing. But I felt at the beginning, I had an old podcast with an old friend of mine, and it was very slapstick style comedy, and it was a battle, right? We'd have people on and we'd want to talk about certain things, but they didn't feel comfortable talking about it, so there was this weird whole awkwardness going on, and we wanted it to do so well, but none of us wanted to let people know that we were doing it.
Right.
But it's our faces, right? So it's weird, but then getting over that hump with life after high school and what I'm doing now is, I think I'm definitely over that part of it, because it's just now I'm almost I'm fully comfortable, almost fully comfortable.
I just think that comes with experience. More experience you get, the more comfortable you feel with, doing whatever you're doing. Right. And I mean, just going back to the whole high school thing, how many times were you ever embarrassed in high school to even put your hand up when the teacher asked a question, or when you had to stand in front to recite something because it was part of the program or the
Often.
you feel uncomfortable when you do that, but
Right.
after you do it once, okay, it was uncomfortable, but I survived.
Right.
Nothing killed me. You do it again. Oh, I feel a little more comfortable this time.
Yeah.
And if I could give advice to anybody who's shy or uncomfortable with just even stuff like public speaking, join something like Toastmasters. That's what I did. I joined Toastmasters, and it made me so confident speaking in front of people.
That's awesome.
That it's second nature now. I'm not shy. Like the minute the mic's given to me, oh yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that for sure.
You give me the mic and I'll talk right away.
Yeah,
on it.
That's your safe zone.
I mean, you got to understand that you have to have purpose, whatever you're doing.
Right.
So you don't just grab a microphone and shout, nothing into it.
Yeah, you gotta.
You got to have a reason for doing that.
Yeah, direction.
And that again, going back to Toastmasters, that's a form of practice. It's a way to get in front of people or just to do something and practice at it to feel more comfortable doing it.
Right.
So even if it's not related to speaking or podcasting, whatever it is you want to do, I just say experience. So do as much practicing as you can. The more experience you get doing it, and whether it be in front of the mirror, whether it be in front of people, that's where that awkwardness will go away, right?
For sure.
And you won't feel as shy or worried about sharing it with people and saying that I'm part of this or that I'm doing this.
Right. Because it's you want your goals to be accomplished, but you have to go through the ringer of other people's opinions.
Exactly.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's like, oh, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Like, yeah, but they're the people paying my bills,
But you know what? There's no better person or people to have you judged or gauged by than your own family, because they're going to love you no matter what.
Oh yeah.
That would be a perfect way to start, is
Facts,
to just have mom or dad or a sibling or somebody that's close to you evaluate you first, because they're going to love you if they'll probably tell you it was good or not, or you really sucked, but they're still going to love you if you didn't do it, if you didn't do it the way
too
they
well.
thought,
So to that, I got two amazing examples of that happened to me last month. So my mother watches every episode, okay? And I know this because she texts me after. She says, Glenn, just watch the latest podcast.
She's going to text you right now as we're doing this. ...
And I'm like, I don't think she knows how to use those. I'm all anxious now. And she goes, you said the F word X amount of times. I'm like, yeah, it's because the guest was saying it and I want to make them feel comfortable, Mom. And then she's like, please don't swear on the show. I'm like, this is amazing. So, that's like, I'm like, that's a guess and whatever. But, and then, where that advice kind of helps though is sometimes, like she's like works in broadcasting. She's done all the things. She knows kind of the best ways to conduct interviews and long form questions. And so she was like, don't triple barrel questions. Don't ask one question, then another question, then another question.
Yeah, let him answer it first.
Yeah.
He'll
answer one and then follow up if you need to.
Yeah.
Maybe two, but don't ask a question, then give 7 minutes of your own piece while they're about to answer. It's just, so stuff like that is really, it's really funny.
I just think, again, you have to have mentors. You have to have people that are going to guide you with whatever you're doing. Yeah. But when you're uncomfortable or you need to practice, there's no easier person to do it than in front of family.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's true. And they, as much as, like you said, like they'll still love you, but they're honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And it hurts. Like, I don't care what you say, Mom. But like, it makes a difference. And it, at the end of the day, though, it is something that, at least with my examples of advice, that I do think about. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to double this question down, but I can't. But going back a bit to growing something globally, right? And making, like you were able to do it with the U.S. where you said in Nashville and New York,
Knoxville,
sorry, Knoxville, and what was that process like? Like, in order for anybody actually to make something go global, like to that, whether it be to that level or what they want to do, and their streams. What was that process like for you?
So it's just a matter of networking, and I mean, one of our best examples of that again is Connor. He's like the network king, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He knows he is, though.
Yeah,
I'll be the first to tell you.
Yeah. He's a little confident about it.
I love it. I'll say it to him tomorrow. I'll chat with him and be like, "Hey, man, we talked."
But from my end of it, the way I got to that point was, so locally here, I stuck around and hung around with DJs that I knew, did well at what they were doing. Mm-hmm. From there, I went to conferences here locally in Canada. There was a Canadian DJ conference. I went to that. I met other DJs there and talked to them about doing radio shows or how do I get to do a radio show.
Oh, well, that's cool.
After that, I went one step further and went to one in North America in Las Vegas, called the Mobile Beat DJ Show. And it's there where you get to meet those people that are going to give you that access. And that's how I got on to another group called Fleet DJs, which is where I produced my one show for Fleet EDM Radio. Yeah. And then the second one was from that. So because somebody else heard my show on Fleet EDM, they're like, hey,
Amazing.
We got a radio show. Do you want to have your show on that as well? And so, like networking is really important when it comes to being global. If you want to be, successful all around everywhere, then you have to go everywhere and connect with people. You can't just hope they're going to come to you or they're going to find you on, LinkedIn or.
More often than not, it does not.
No,
happen.
No. You got to shake hands. You got to meet people. You got to do that. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, and I mean it's tough, and it's also rewarding. And
huge. Yeah.
A big reward for me was in 2019 when I went to the Mobile Beat a second and third time.
Nice.
They actually had a contest, and I got invited to perform on the floor.
Come on,
at the conference for fellow DJs, other people that I look up to.
Come on!
So
what was that experience like?
Oh, it was awesome. It was super awesome. Yeah.
How do you prepare for something like that? How much time ahead of that did you? I know I just did what I said. I'm like, I really want to know how much time did you have to prepare for that?
I mean, they planned it out. It's it's in February that they let you know, and it's in March that they have the conference. But it's still like a pressure. Really a lot of pressure on you because. First of all, I didn't get to go, first or last, but I went in the middle somewhere when someone else was performing on stage. And so, you got to wait. You got to, hope that they don't, play something you're going to play or do something that you're going to do. You got to be unique. There's a little bit of pressure that way.
Yeah.
And then I think just naturally, the minute I get behind the decks and I start performing, it feels comfortable for me. Yeah. So, that was fun though. I really enjoyed that, and I think my wife enjoyed it too because she got to come along for free with me.
Oh, of course, of course.
So just having her there made me feel a little more comfortable as well, having that familiarity with somebody there. But
that's cool.
I mean, most of the people that attend those things, no matter what, they're going to be there to support you. So again, network and be be with other like-minded people that you want to help you succeed, and that's where I learned.
Huge,
that's where I got that from.
Yeah, I think that's man. So originally, I thought when you said I want a contest, I picture a 50-50 raffle, and then first period they announce the in between intermissions, first period and second period they tell you the winner, and third period is the winner presenting. So I'm like, oh, he's got like an hour to prep. This is crazy, but. That's good to hear. This
was like, we want to have DJs perform on the stage live at the conference.
That's cool.
And send in your 30-minute demo, basically. So again, got to use video, got to perform live on a video stream, and then send that into them. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty unique audition.
Yeah,
if you ask me. That's really cool.
Once in a lifetime experience. I love it.
Oh, I can imagine. Jeez. So was that, do you have any, or what are there, if there are any, like common misconceptions that people have towards like, whether it be DJing, MCing, or more so the entertainment business as a whole?
I think a lot of people will always think that, it depends on the person and the individual, but a lot of people always think that being a DJ is always about like the party and having like a good time or getting wasted or that kind of thing, right? I mean, it's not. It's some of that.
Yeah.
to a point. I mean,
sure.
It's always nice to have a few drinks and unwind when you're working or when you're performing.
Makes sense.
But at some point, a lot of it is still hard work, and it happens before, it happens after the actual event. Like nobody's inside the locker room or the studio with you, like prepping the songs or making edits to them or lining them up in your DJ software ahead of time. You're doing that on your own. Your headphones are on and you're just focused on that.
Zoned in.
Like that stuff you got to do ahead of time, and so it's not always just you show up at the event and it's just a big wild party.
Yeah,
there's a lot of prep work for that ahead of time, and then afterwards it's the same thing. You got to analyze what you did and what you did good or successfully so that you can do it again. Maybe you want to have a second opinion and have somebody else listen to what you did, that kind of thing. So there's always work involved. It's not just a party all the time.
No, it's just a party all the time, eh?
It's not. It might seem that way when you look at people's social media feeds and what they're doing. You think, oh yeah, that's all they do is party.
I wonder if it could be to highlight something, but I also think in doing that, you're showcasing. Because I've noticed you do something differently. Because it's not what you just said is what you're posting, but it's more specific events and memories and experiences that you were a part of, and being able to help create, whether it be like weddings, right, and galas, and these big events.
It comes back down to the community and the people you're targeting or marketing to create for. So I think, if, Jane Doe wants to have, this magical thing happen at her wedding or at an event, you have to post or do or show those things that you're doing. Yeah. Otherwise, they're not going to hire you or want you to do that.
Right. It's event specific more often than not.
Definitely. Yeah. And the same thing goes with the radio shows or the music that I edit. A lot of it is the music I love to play and I want to play it.
Right.
But sometimes you're playing it and you're editing it because you know that that's what the audience wants to hear. Right. So I mean, top 40s is a big, thing that everybody will argue about. Is it a great song? Oh no, it's not. But it's in the top 40. Why? Because people want to hear it. So you got to play it, right? Because those people are listening.
Yeah.
So there's
it's iffy.
It is.
An opinion thing.
Yeah, it's an opinion thing, but
stuff.
I think that's what happens when you're marketing or you're trying to sell yourself to specific types of people or specific clients, is that you have to give them what they want.
Right.
Otherwise, they're not going to pay for it. They're not going to want to pay for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Do you have, I know you touched on was it Vegas, you said, where the conference was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's epic. Jeez. I'm peanut butter and jealous, man. That's that's amazing. So, do you have, and that might be it, but do you have a favorite experience so far in the industry? From all your years emceeing and entertaining and DJing, do you have one moment that stands out above all else? That could not be this one, or it could be this one, or it could be like something that's like maybe a moment at a wedding or something that just made you go, wow, I'm grateful to be part of this.
Right. I definitely think those examples are good. Definitely the Las Vegas one was big for me. But I still think that it's some of the smaller ones that make me really realize the importance of what I do. And the one that I'm going to mention right now, again, it's not like a huge moment that made me successful or that made me popular or anything. But I'm sure you've heard of Relay for Life.
Yes.
Big event that
Huge.
the Canadian Cancer Society hosts all the time.
Humongous.
And I was lucky they got me to perform for them here in Sudbury. And the moment when they make it silent, like they light up all the luminaries and it's quiet, right? Because you're honoring these people that have passed away. It's that moment that I got, a feeling in me that realized that I'm here creating something for these people to make sure that they remember somebody or that they feel for somebody. And so the music that I get to play right after is important to them. So that moment, like that made me feel like amazing when I did that. So it's not always like, you know, a specific moment, but sometimes it's like one that's more important to other people than that's, you know, successful or good for me.
Yeah. Wow.
That to me is a huge feeling, right?
Yeah. I can
being a part of something
I can
like
only
that.
imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Jeez, man. Yeah, that's heavy.
Also,
that's
like,
huge.
also screaming out a fighter's name at a at an event is pretty
For
exciting
these two
as well.
Titans go punch each other in the head for 25 minutes. That I'm sure that has its peaks and valleys for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. So as we kind of trail towards the end of the episode, do you have any? We touched on a lot of things. Do you have any pieces of like advice or experiences or challenges that you went through that anybody entering the entertainment business, whether it be the niche of DJing, MCing, performing, whatever it may be, that you would pass on to either be younger self or somebody entering?
Like some advice, basically?
Yeah.
I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give really reflects on being a part of a community and a part of a group of like-minded people, and there's no better way to do that than by like joining something. So whether it be a club, an association, a group, you know, like I said before about like if you're scared of public speaking, join Toastmasters. You know, if you want to be a successful radio broadcaster, then you should probably find other radio broadcasters or you know, watch their shows. So to me, that's the biggest advice I'll give anybody that's starting off or that's you know, building a business or creating something for the first time, is to just find somebody or find a group of like-minded people and join them and be a part of them, because they're going to make you better. Right. They're going to teach you, or you know, you might help them. You know?
Yeah, it does definitely go both ways.
Exactly,
sure.
It does. It definitely goes both ways, and that to me is important. And I've, you know, I think I'm successful because I've done that before.
Right on. Now, I'm really stoked to listen to this mix. So I'm going to get to that, but before we end the episode, tell people where can they find you?
So, I mean, it's super easy if you just search for Richie Rich or DJ Richie Rich.
Pops right up.
Yeah, it pops up pretty much anywhere on any social media. But on Instagram and Twitter, you have to search at Big and Rich DJ.
Big and Rich DJ.
That's the name of my company. And then, of course, you can find my mixes or my shows on Mixcloud.com. So, you know, any of my past shows, there's over 250 or 260, I think, now.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah. So
amazing.
Check those out.
Awesome. Right on, brother. I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to listen to the mix. I appreciate the bottle of wine. I know what I'm going to do after. Yeah, brother, I'm super stoked, and all the links will be in the description. And man, I just really am grateful for your time.
It was fun. I'm really happy to be part of this, and thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. Anytime, man. Appreciate it.